My monthly mortgage is about how are you paying for your house after quitting your job. A very, very, very small percentage of their net worth is in. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I asked you guys on Instagram to send me some questions about my house, about the process, about my down payment, about anything about my house. No questions were off limits, so I'm gonna be answering a bunch of those questions in today's video. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you should definitely go follow me on Instagram there. I want to be doing more Q&As like this, and Instagram is where I'll be asking for questions. My Instagram handle is @AdrianInvests, just like my YouTube name. The first question I got is, how much did you put down and how did you decide? I ended up putting down 15%, and the way I decided how much I wanted to put down was I've talked about a program called Home Ready, which is something I qualified for as a first-time homeowner, and the program allowed me to get a very low interest rate. But with the program, basically if you are able to put down 20% or more, you don't qualify for the program. And my loan officer gave me scenarios for each percentage that I could put down. So he sent me what it would look like if I put 5% down, what it would look like if I put 10% down, what it would look like if I put 15% down or 20% down. So that included what my monthly payment would be, how much would be going to mortgage insurance, and my interest rate for 5, 10, and 15% were all the same, but when it jumped to 20%, the interest rate jumped up. So that is how I decided to put down 15%, was because I got the lowest interest rate, but my monthly payment would still be relatively low. And I would also, I'm pretty sure the mortgage insurance that you pay goes down with the more money that you put down. So that is how I chose how much to put down. The second question is, what's your monthly mortgage and are you making additional payments to pay it off sooner? My monthly mortgage is about $1,600, I think exactly, it's like $1,674. That's just my mortgage. That doesn't include utilities or my HOA. And they also asked, am I making additional payments to pay it off sooner? I'm not right now making additional payments to pay it off sooner. And the reason is my interest rate was so low. My interest rate was 2.5%, which is almost unheard of. And so for me, it doesn't make sense for me paying additional payments because my interest rate is so low. I am making more money investing the money that I could put towards my house if I invested it somewhere else. And also, by the way, in the last couple of videos have sounded very nasally, and that's because I had tonsillitis a couple weeks ago and I just haven't fully healed from it. My lymph nodes are still very swollen, so I don't know, hopefully I'll get better from that, but that's why I sound super nasally right now. The next question is buying a house or renting better? This is completely dependent on the market and also where you're at with your finances. A lot of people legitimately can't buy a house because their credit isn't good enough or they have bad repayment of debts, something like that. It even goes as far as to if you don't have like a consistent income, like if you were a freelancer or something, even if you make $100,000 a year, if your income isn't like consistent or if you can't report it to the loan company as qualifying income, you may not get approved for a loan. So there are a lot of reasons why you can't get approved for a loan, but generally speaking, there are times when interest rates are really low, but rent prices are really high. Like right now, we're kind of in a season where interest rates are really low. So a lot of people are looking to buy houses because the interest rates are so low. There are also times when interest rates are really high and rent prices are really low. And so sometimes it makes more sense to rent if interest rates are so high. I would also say it depends on how long you're planning on living where you're living. If you know you're moving to another city or another area, I would say at least for the first year, rent a place so you can get to know the area and get to know where you want to live if you're going to stay there more permanently. And then after that year, you can go look and buy a place. I'd also say even if you're young and you don't really know where you're going to be settling down, renting is not a bad idea. Buying a home and not staying in it for 5 to 7 years at least, or at least owning it for 5 to 7 years is almost the minimum you need to just break even on all of the transaction costs that come along with buying and selling a home. So I would say those are the things to keep in mind when trying to decide if you should buy a home or rent. The fourth question is how to find a good lender with so many options. I think I can only really speak to my experience with finding a lender. My first step would be to tell you to find a really good realtor, and your realtor will hopefully be able to recommend a good loan officer who can find you the best loan for you. That's personally what happened with me, and that was personally my experience, that I found a good realtor and then I had a really great loan officer officer that was able to find me the best loan. Question number 5 is, how are you paying for your house after quitting your job? And that's a really good question. I prepared for being in this season, and I know this season is only going to be temporary, so I have a decent amount of savings that I'm pulling from to pay for my home right now. Technically, I quit my job, but I'm still making money in other ways. Like, I do make money on the side. Right now, that is how I'm paying for my home. I know I'm not going to be in this season forever. I also know that if money was really tight, honestly, I could go back to the job that I had, or I could go find another job, or I could find a part-time job. I'm not really concerned about being in this season forever because I'm in the situation where I know I can get a job very quickly if I need to. Okay, the next question is a house a bad investment? I've seen a lot of finance gurus discourage home buying. I would say your primary residence is very difficult to be an investment piece. Specifically, if you look at the wealthiest people in the world, a very, very, very small percentage of their net worth is in rental income or real estate. Some of them may have a decent chunk of their net worth in commercial real estate. There is a very, very, very small percentage of their net worth that is in residential real estate. And I can find the article that I was reading on that. And so I am always very hesitant to the people on YouTube who are talking about rental income and making that passive, because I really think there is a limit to how much income you can get from that area. The people who are the absolute wealthiest in the world, they don't really dabble in the rental income or the residential real estate investment area. However, the most important thing, and this is something my dad always taught me, was you really need to love your home. And that's the most important thing. That doesn't mean to go out and buy whatever home that you like. Like, I think it's still very important to look and see if it's in a good area, if the location is really good, the school district, if that's something that concerns you. Those things I think are important to look at in a home that you're buying, because there's just certain things about a home that can give it a higher value in the longevity of the home. Like, for example, is the home backed to a busy road, or is it in a really noisy area? Those things can be harder to sell when you're trying to sell the home. Personally, I'm not one to get into real estate investing or rental income or passive rental income, just because I don't think in the big picture, I don't think that's where substantial wealth is found. And that's just personally my opinion. There are a lot of people who have different opinions on that. The next question is location, ? Property taxes, HOA fees. So I've told you guys I live in the DC area. Obviously not going to tell you where my house is. Property taxes, currently property taxes are being paid out of my escrow account. I think they're going to be paid out of my escrow account until I have 20% equity in my home. My HOA is, I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but it's between $200 and $300. The next question is most expensive home fix, maintenance, or upgrade you've had to do so far. So when I bought the home, it was move-in ready. I could have moved in right when I closed on it. I ended up not. The upstairs had carpet. I just really wanted the hardwood look. It's also just a lot easier to clean. Before I moved into my home, I replaced the carpet with like a hardwood laminate type thing, and that was the most expensive thing that I've done to my house. That was probably about $5,000, $5,000 to $6,000 that cost me. This question is, did you put down less than you had planned? I did put down less than I had planned. I just assumed that to get a lower interest rate, I would need to put more down. So I assumed that I would need to put 20% down in order to get my lower interest rate, and then also so I would avoid paying mortgage insurance. But I ended up putting down 15%. The next question is it better to buy a house one-time shot or over time? This question I think is trying to ask, is it better to buy a home like outright, like paying cash for a home, or paying for it over time? If the interest rates are low, like they are right now, although they are creeping up right now, it is better to buy a home over time. Almost never is somebody able to buy a house in one shot unless they've bought homes before and they've had enough equity in the home. It's typically easier to buy it over time. But then on the other hand, some people just really, really don't like debt. And if they can pay for a home outright with cash, like financially they have the means to do that, it's not a bad thing. It's definitely a personal decision that you have to make. The next question is, do you plan to stay where you bought your house, or do you plan to rent it out and move elsewhere, like possibly back home or house hack the home you got? Nope, I'm planning on staying in my home for as long as I fit in my home. Like if I get married and or end up having a family and we outgrow the home, then obviously I would move out. I would probably still hang on to the home and rent it out and move elsewhere if need be. Are there any other questions? This one just says rental property. Personally wouldn't get into rental income, rental property, real estate, anything like that. I really think that managing rental properties requires a certain personality that I just don't have. It's just not my inclination to get into that. Those are all of the questions that I got. If you don't follow me on Instagram, definitely go follow me on Instagram at Adrian Invests. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe by hitting the little subscribe button down below. I did get some other questions on this Q&A that weren't about my house. If you want me to do another Q&A, let me know down in the comments, and let me know if you do have any other questions. Like, I will answer them in the next Q&A that I do, and if I get a lot, it'll be really soon. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye guys.